Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to EdTech Tuesdays. Today's session is Revolutionizing U.S. History with School AI. My name is Maribel Martinez alongside Mr. David Villarreal, and we will cover the educational platform School AI today. Before we get started, we have some housekeeping items. Please keep your mic muted. Feel free to type questions in the chat. If you have not registered on the PD system, please do so at this time. Our session number is 367-395. Remember to do the remote check-in for PSJA Tech. In today's agenda, we will cover what School AI is. We will have effective prompting for Space Creator, which is how we're going to create our space. And I will cover digital spaces for teachers and students. And we will offer a Canva resource at the end of this session so that you can use with your students when they are working with School AI. Okay, so the first thing I want you to do is go to School AI in order to get familiar with the platform. Go to your browser, School AI. This is what it looks like right here. You can sign in with your Google account. And this is the landing page. On the dashboard, you'll find Sidekick, which could be a tool to provide tutoring for your students. You can explore spaces that other teachers have created, or you can create your own. So what is a space in the classroom? Spaces are AI-powered chatbots designed to help students learn. Every space has built-in monitoring and controls for teachers. While other platforms might give the students the answers, School AI is more of a one-on-one tutor and it won't give them the answers. You will see how students think critically and are able to engage and collaborate in order to get the learning that they need. Okay, up at the top, we have spaces. And if you go to Discover, you will see all the other spaces that teachers have created. You can go into any one of these to get more ideas as to what a space looks like. You also have tools, which is a key component within this platform. I really like it because you can create lesson plans. You can create worksheets, quizzes, anything you need for your students. That is what we will cover today. And I'm specifically using Space Designer in order to create that space. Okay. So what School AI does is it saves time with tools and assistance. It can easily tailor lesson plans, worksheets, quizzes, and more, automatically aligning it to your TEKS. You might want to keep your TEKS separate on the side because the TEKS, the standards that are provided within School AI are clumped together with many of the other standards that other teachers in other states use, like the Common Core. So I would just keep my TEKS on the side to copy and paste as I am working on a space, a lesson, or anything that I need. For US History, your content coordinator can provide that for you, Ms. Alejandro or Ms. Myra Salinas. And for today's session, they were the inspiration for this lesson today, okay? A space is personalized learning for every student. It adapts to each student's learning style and pace, increasing comprehension and providing one-on-one support. The great thing about this, like I said, you can monitor your students' engagement levels with mission control. There is a screen where you can actually see your students, each one of them engaging with the space that you have provided for them. and it doesn't give them the answers. It helps them think critically. It helps them learn academic language and anything else you want your students to do within that space. If you go to spaceai.com/join and put in this link, you'll see that what a space looks like. Okay. Don't forget that a space is student-centered, it's personalized, adaptive, collaborative, and engaging for each one of our students and FERPA compliant. We will move on to effective prompting strategies, where you will learn how to create a prompt. Hi, Mara. Hello, hello. Welcome, welcome, guys. $5. Thank you for joining, ladies. Ms. Myra, I did mention that you gave us a lot of feedback when creating this training. You were able to provide the standards for us and the ideas behind what the space is going to look like today. Okay, ladies, if you want to join through the space here, go to spaceai.com/join, input your name and this link so that you can see what this space is like. I'll have you go a couple of more rounds. Let me know in the chat if you're already interacting.
Same for me.
Okay. We'll go ahead and continue. You're going to get to use another one, so we'll leave this one aside. Okay? All right, so let me explain again a little bit more about School AI. School AI is a tool that easily tailors lesson plans, worksheets, quizzes, and more for teachers. And it's aligned with the standards, but what I like to do is just have the standards on the side and copy and paste the standards. Ms. Myra, I know you keep a list of all your standards, correct? That you can provide that to teachers, or they could even use TEKS resource system. And School AI is more personalized for students. Spaces adapt to each student's learning style and pace, increasing comprehension and providing one-on-one support for the student. As a teacher, you're able to monitor student engagement levels, and you have a full oversight of the student's progress, okay? I like to express that a space is adaptive, where students can engage and they can adapt to the lessons that the teacher provides for them. Oh, and it's FERPA compliant. Okay, so we're gonna leave that one aside because we're gonna get to explore another space. So we'll leave that one to the side. Okay, so in order to be effective in the prompting, we can use this guide that School AI provides us. Here is the code, the QR code. You can use this one to get more ideas on how to prompt School AI. But what it really is that when you're prompting, you must define the role, provide the task, provide detailed instructions, and set the rules and requirements in order to get that prompt that you need for your students. It'll create the space for you in that format. Okay? And this is the idea that I ran by Miss Myra. It was just, I asked her to give me the TEKS and provide a scenario so that we could create a space. I'm going to use this in order to create the prompt. So I'm going to copy and paste this. I'm going to go to School AI. Under Spaces, I'm sorry, under Assistance, the Space Designer. I'm going to copy and paste the idea and the standard that I had. It says, I would like to create a space for 11th grade students to progress through an adventure experience during the Cold War from 1945 to 1963. Correct me if I'm wrong, Ms. Myra. Students would be soldiers about to be deployed to Europe, interacting as if they were actually there, having a conversation with President Truman, using a conversational tone. Students would be presented with a story that progresses to a moment where they need to make a choice. The space would then offer 2 to 3 options, like a multiple choice type of question. The story would then resume factoring in the choice that the student made to the development of the story. So it's an actual scenario. The student is present at the time, in that time period. And then what I did is I copy and pasted the TEKS. So the TEKS for US history is 8A, describe the US responses to Soviet aggression after World War II, including the Truman Doctrine, the Marshall Plan. So we want all our students to grasp that academic vocabulary. I'm going to send the message. So it's defining the role. That's step one. That's step one in prompting, right? It's defining the role. What should the AI play in this adventure? For example, President Truman, military advisors, or even other soldiers. Do you want the AI to switch roles as different historical figures, or mainly as President Truman? What I want my student to do is to actually interact with President Truman. Okay, so I'm just gonna tell it to do that. I'm gonna say mainly as okay. So now step number 2, what do you want the students to accomplish during the adventure? And it's giving me 2 options. Make decisions as a US soldier that reflects understanding the US Cold War. To me, that's perfect. That's the one I want. I'm not even going to type it in. I'm just going to copy and paste. So we're going through the whole prompting process, the 4 steps that I told you about. So step 3, let's shape the experience. Is there anything else you want to add to the instructions? So what the students are going to see in this space is President Truman presents a story scenario, key moments. The AI continues the story adjusting based choices. It's going to go between 5 to 6 rounds. Use a conversational immersive tone. And the scenarios, it's going to cover the Truman Doctrine, Marshall Plan, Berlin Airlift, NATO, and the set for the Cuban Missile Crisis. And it's going to end with a reflection prompt. All of these key features are going to be presented within that space. Is there anything else you want to add to the instructions? And I'm going to say no. And I'm good with 3 and 4. Okay, so now it created the draft. This is my actual prompt, and this is what I'm going to use to create that space. Okay, there's these 3 dots right here. I'm going to say copy message. I'm going to go to spaces, create, the blue button that says create. My title is going to be time period. Here where it says AI prompts, I'm going to copy and paste the prompt that I was given in the previous step. I'm going to take off the first part, the copy and paste. I don't need that. Don't forget to do that. There's some extra wording in there that you don't need. As long as you have the context, the role, the task, the instructions, and the requirements, you're good to go. I'm not including the standards because I already put the description in the prompt. It was 8A. AI will automatically generate like a cover image for you, or you can attach one if you already have one, but I'm just gonna have it generated for now. I don't need any of the subtitles or teacher description. I don't need that. I'm gonna preview it. So this is the way it's gonna start. Before we begin, this is a learning activity designed for K through 12 classrooms under the guidance of a teacher. And then I'll do my best to represent President Harry Truman accurately, but remember that this is, so it just tells you that. And I'm going to save it. And over here on the left-hand side, you have launch. It creates a space code. I'm going to put this in the chat. You're going to use this link. Can you please go to the student to join in as a student and use that code? Please let us know in the chat once you get in. Is everyone in? Are you guys in the space already? going through those questions? Okay. Okay, one thing that I forgot to tell you is, well, I told you at the beginning that you can monitor your students. I went back to spaces, and under sessions, I can go to that actual space. Now I see you guys in there, Cindy, David, Eric. You have to interact with the space. And as you're interacting with the space, I can see how well you're doing on the answering. I want you guys to pretend that you can be an emergent bilingual student. Think of your students. If you're an emergent bilingual and you're not understanding the vocabulary, you can go ahead and you can type in, I don't understand. Can you break it down for me? You can also ask, what is the word doctrine mean? What is the Truman Doctrine? You can ask it to break things down for you. I see a lot of interacting with the space. That's great. Some of you are asking for more explanation, more clarification. Cindy requested a Spanish translation of a scenario option suggesting either a preference for bilingual support or need of language accommodations. So remember that the teacher can see all of this, and at this point, if you have a student that's not engaged, that is doing something else, this is where you're going to be prompted to, you might want to address the student. Okay, so that's great. I think we're good with those 5 to 6 rounds. You already got to see what an actual space looks like. Now it's just it's more about the prompting, right? If you want to create something else, if you have an idea about what you want, use that School AI prompting guide. That'll lead you into the right direction. Okay? Don't forget to be as specific as you want. Iterate if you don't get the right prompt. And you saw my productive struggle as I was going through that prompting. It stopped me at like 2 or 3 different points in the prompting, and I had to like redirect it or ask. I had to be more specific. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to my presentation. because I do have a couple of more things to let you guys know. I have some, I want to call them like cheat codes. When you're prompting, you can enter either one of these to have your students, to have them do a more challenge, to get into a more challenging mode in a space. You can type in the prompt, you can type in, if students enter 000, provide a more challenging task for them. Or you can adapt questions based on students' responses. If the students are engaging correctly, make the questions slightly more challenging. If students are struggling, make the questions simpler, okay? You can also, when you're prompting, ask AI to break down multi-step tasks into smaller sections, checking for understanding at each step. All those 3 codes can be part of your prompting to make the space more adaptable for your student. Okay, and the last thing before we leave is a Canva resource that you can use with your students. Let me put this link on the chat. When your students are working in a space, I created these questions so they can keep engaged as they're going through the prompting. If they're not understanding something, they can ask, can you break it down for me, please? What does the word, for example, suffrage mean? Can you give me an example? Is the question about, can you explain it a little bit further? 3 questions that I still have after going through this prompt, or I'm sorry, through this space. What words did I learn today? I wonder. So those are just some things that you can use with your students when they're working with School AI. Okay, and that's it. We have some prizes. So Mr. Villarreal is gonna spin the wheel.